Once again, that's a now. Now, even though chakras are traditionally used for the internal bodies, well, obviously these are forces that are in the outside world. We can talk about the universe having 7 chakras. You can talk about Chicago as a living and dynamic energy system having 7 chakras. You know, you can translate these into different things, different scopes. Question?
Do the chakras correspond to the elements? Can you do that?
Excellent question. Well, one thing you can do. Usually, the first one will correspond with Earth. This is a classical correspondence. And then I'm going to, I got something for you. Water, because it's like emotions, duality, fire, will, solar energy. And this one's kind of wacky. Even though it's love, in a lot of ways you can think of the heart chakra as compassion. And the Sanskrit term for the heart chakra is anahata, right, which means unstruck, which is almost like something that's air, like pure vibration that's undifferentiated. As if you were getting like a tuning fork and that vibration in the air. Literally, it would be like a drum or a bell that's not struck. That's in Sanskrit. Then you could kind of cheat the elements and say, well, this is sound, even though sound can, then that would be light, and then that would be the unknown. So that's one way to do it. I hate that way.
We are in concordance with that.
So the way I think of it is I have a chakra, okay? And I would think of a chakra having 4 functions. And these 4 functions correspond to the elements. So I will say that the chakra really has kind of like a spin. Depending on which chakra it is, they'll spin differently. But let's say if that's spin, I will say this ingathering of energy is air. I will say that the circulating, so like, we'll say that's air. The circulation of that energy for yourself, I call that fire. Then I call the concept of that the chakra stays there, that obviously some energy stays there, otherwise you wouldn't have any chakras. You'd be dead. So we'll call that the whole chakra, that it exists, that the self of the chakra, if you will, that self is earth. And then water would be that energy going out, almost like the tides, and water being emotions, but also very simple sharing, connection. So air coming in, fire circulating, earth staying put, and water going out.
You could see within that duality as well within the elements, because you're seeing 2 opposites and 2 opposites, but yet they work well together.
Going in and out, circulating, staying put. You like that one?
Okay.
All right.
So we're back to elements now?
No, we got planets, Kabbalah, and astrology. So
okay.
We'll go quick. All right. So we have 7 chakras. There's also 7 classical planets of the ancients. Anyone study astrology here? That's okay. You'll hear a major correspondence is planets. So you have Moon, Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Here. Jupiter on its side. Yeah. Saturn, look at Saturn, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Sun, and Moon. Now, of course, there can be some correspondences to the chakras and many other systems. The correspondences to the elements. You can also kind of flip it a little bit, get a little crazy, and you can say, well, maybe I can find 4 parts to each planet. So that's when you get a little crazy in correspondences. And believe me, you can go a little bit crazy. But I just want to introduce you guys to the concept of 7 planets. You'll see this in astrology a lot. Moon being like emotion, Sun being willpower, Jupiter being leadership and strength, Mercury being, of course, Jupiter being like Zeus, Mercury communication, Venus love, Mars aggression, and Saturn being limitations. So, and that's just one way to look at it. They're infinitely more complex than just 2 or 3 words. And I think we'll skip.
Then when we get into the astrological, which we get into the 12 signs of the zodiac, they also have elemental correlations. They also have, different ways that we can look at them through all the elements as well. When you're talking about sun signs and moon signs, when you're talking about cusps and things like that, you can get into all sorts of combinations of elements like that.
Everyone's familiar with the zodiac, right?
What does Mercury correspond to?
Communication. And then Venus, love, and the moon is also the unconscious mind, dreams. Saturn is limitations and boundaries. Let's see, what else? Now, with astrology, there's 12, right? How many elements are there? 4. I wonder if I can divide astrology by the elements. Can So,
they even have little names for each how they correspond to the elements, where they have cardinal and fixed and mutable.
Yep. Let's see, air is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius.
Fire we've got Aries, and
Leo
and Sagittarius. Water would be Scorpio. I'm saying them out of order.
So what's
Cancer.
Yeah. Cancer, Scorpio.
Pisces.
Thank you. Oh, that's a walking. Anyone here Pisces? No?
No Pisces.
Wow. And Earth, Taurus. Virgo, Capricorn.
So each one of these has a different role in how they're viewed. Obviously, when you look at, just like your newspaper astrological sign, there are certain things that are viewed by each zodiac sign which correspond to that element. For example, Capricorns, my sister's a Capricorn. Capricorns are love material things. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they have a connection to the material. And when you think about the connection to the material, that material things correspond to Earth. I myself am a Gemini. I love to talk. Half the time, I'm just waiting for my turn to talk. And Gemini is an Earth sign. If you look at, and I don't know what all of your signs are. I know a couple of your signs. If you look at what sign you are, you can find aspects that relate to that element within you. Does anybody want to volunteer what their element is? What their Cancer. You say what? You're Cancer? Oh, water. So you're a nurturer.